Hello, my friends. I'm the Synodic Scribe, and as usual, I'm having another wonderful roundtable discussion with some of my friends and fellow content creators. Today, I am joined by quite a few different people, and some familiar faces as well. How about you all introduce yourselves real quick?
No.
Oh.
Just kidding.
No.
Go ahead.
Well, you've seen me before. I'm always wandering around. I go by Crotoan, also known as Eslan Collate, and I do, Final Fantasy 14 lore stuff, other lore stuff for other games, and just like to talk about nerdy stuff. So glad to be invited again. Thank you so much, Synodic, for the opportunity. Appreciate it, and excited to be here.
Yeah.
My name is Final Fantasy 14 Fun Facts. I talk about all the different lore stuff and talk about little side content and just things sort of out of the way in game and the Eorzean Encyclopedia, which I do love very much so. But yeah, talk about lore stuff on a lot of different social media, so you can find me pretty much anywhere.
And hi, I'm Crystal, or Crystal, and I am a content creator, and I make stuff on YouTube. I make dance covers, and I play RPGs, and I like FF14, and I also am the main event organizer for LunarCon, now EtherCon 2. But yeah, I love FF14. Hi.
Speaking of which, when is EtherCon?
Pressure.
Insider information.
Well, no, we actually can't make a date until we know the release time of Dawntrail.
That's fair.
Honestly, that's entirely
Yeah,
fair.
we can't. There's nothing I can do.
You have to plan around
Yeah,
it.
we have to plan around patches because we don't want to have EtherCon on the weekend of a patch release, So
Right.
Exactly.
gotta plan around dates, so we have to wait until Dawntrail gets a release date, which will probably be at PAX in 3 weeks.
That would be a good time to announce the release day, actually.
Yeah.
Honestly, that would be a great time. I'm
without a
still
doubt.
waiting for them to declare when what's it called, the collector's edition for Dawntrail releases, because I have been collecting
so upset about
the
that.
collector's edition every time, and I don't want to miss this
I'm
one.
like
The Endwalker one was so
99%
unfair.
positive it'll be announced at PAX East.
I definitely agree. I think that's a PAX East thing. I mean, technically, we should have had it at the last FanFest, but with
Yeah.
just how things are going and how they didn't even come out with the release date yet officially, I still think that's going to be revealed at PAX, if not like shortly after PAX.
Mhm.
But yeah, definitely PAX is the soft lock for what I'm sure we get pretty much our last bit of info.
Right.
Sure.
Oh my god, there's so much to look forward to. And there's a reason that everyone is looking forward to Dawntrail stuff as much as they are. And that is because of Endwalker. So, Endwalker, the final expansion in a 10-year story, finally reaching its climax. How's everyone feeling about the state of Final Fantasy XIV now that the final saga is over and like the book on this chapter is closed and it's time to move on to the part 2 of Final Fantasy XIV?
I'll go first. I think I have a pretty generally warm opinion. So I'll let you all go tackle this later. But yeah, no, my opinion generally is pretty warm. I understand it's been pretty bare bones. As they've been definitely focusing on the graphics and the past dungeons and the previous dungeon, the previous fights and all that sort of stuff. Making sure everything is sort of laid bare for all the new players we get and or have gotten, because we got a big rush of them, not only in Endwalker but for Shadowbringers as well. And I think we can expect a lot more players going forward, and seeing all the new dungeons and stuff like that. I feel like, especially having some new friends going through the game, I think it's a good idea to have all of those things just sort of laid out and corrected and fixed without being really too gimmicky. And on top of that, with all the new content in 14, all the new hard content, I think there's some stuff for a lot of the hardcore. Now, the rewards and stuff is a little different. My opinion on that is a little different, but I think having really good hardcore content and really good leveling content, I think, is a good way for them to sort of just work on filling out the rest of the middle. That's the best way to think about it, sort of like a sandwich. The story itself, I really enjoyed. The 6.0 story was really good, and the 6.x patches, I feel like, was really strong, especially as a big fan of 4 myself. It was very similar to 4 without being an exact copy. So it was familiar to me, and it was really cool and shiny and brand new for a lot of my other friends who never played it. And I really like some of the characters we got to meet along the way, specifically Zero. They did a really good job with Zero, in my opinion. And since then, yeah, I think it's been pretty bare, not gonna lie. But also, I'm a busy man who is also trying to play some other games, stuff like that. And it's definitely giving me time. And I understand people who want to play 14 have their opinions. But as someone who plays 14 but also likes to play other games, even with some new games coming out and some new reveals every day, I've been taking a much needed break. And I think that's sort of good for everyone. So that way we can go into Dawntrail with eyes wide open and all the time in the world to just facepalm right into all the new content. So yeah, that's my general opinion. I like the break, like the idea of a lot of things, and I'm excited to see even more.
All right.
Actually,
Grow up, Crystal.
oh yeah, go ahead.
You sure? You can go ahead.
Yeah, you're fine.
Yeah, go for it.
First of all, I will point it out there. I am a little sick, so if my voice is a little weird, I do apologize. But I wanted to kind of like lead off of what Mellow Juice was saying about how the game is giving you a chance to take a break. I think that's always been Yoshi P's directive. He's brought it up several times in several interviews that he doesn't want people like no life in the game. And so it does make a lot of sense that, stuff isn't meant to keep you there for weeks on end. You can complete it in a couple days and, get some stuff done, enjoy it, and then go play other games. Because he even tells you go play other games or, go do other things. So in a way, that's kind of like what Endwalker's been allowed me to do, of course, is like, I have that opportunity to play other games after I finish that kind of stuff, finish the MSQ and everything. And so that was a really good point. I did want to like highlight that specifically. But for me, I also enjoyed the Final Fantasy IV references because that was my first Final Fantasy, or the one I played the most of. And so for me, it was like, kind of bringing out that nostalgia. And it was definitely a nostalgia trip for the most part. I was just like, oh, hey, I know what that is. Like, I was able to catch on to more of the references this patch cycle than any other. And I thought that was really cool. So I enjoyed it for that aspect. I do know a lot of people didn't like how specific it focused on Final Fantasy IV because at a certain point they were just like, okay, we get it, because you get all four Archfiends, you get Golbez, you get Zeromas, you get all their themes and everything, and it was nice, it was really cool, but it's like I think people had gotten used to kind of a mix of Final Fantasies, like a blend of them, and not just that one specific one. And I've always theorized the intention was to celebrate its anniversary because if I recall, didn't four hit like the 30th anniversary or something like that during the release of Endwalker? Like that year it came out was the 30th anniversary of four. So I think it was like a big like celebration of all of that particular release, and they were just taking that time to do that. I liked a lot of stuff that was introduced, but recently I will say this: the one thing that's got me kind of like fixated right now is like the variant dungeon system.
Mm-hmm.
I slept on that. I
Mm-hmm.
definitely I should have definitely done that before, or at least when it came out, because I didn't, I don't know, I didn't, it was interesting to me. I was like, oh, this is really really cool, and I ran a couple of routes and I was like, oh, that's really cool, but I had a commission and I was working on this commission, which kind of got me into doing one of the recent ones that just came out. It was a Mount Rokon, and after completing all the routes, like that was super. That was just like that blew my mind. Everything about it, the aspects of it, like the little secret routes you had to find, like some of the stuff you couldn't even figure out. Like you had to like really pay attention to some of the clues they were giving you in order to get those secret routes. and the lore for Matt Rokon is phenomenal. I was just like, this is the coolest thing I've ever seen. Like, I wish all of this was in Stormblood, but of course they had to. The thing is, we have the curse of being an MMO, so they can't really stick around for areas a long time because they have to keep replying. You have to keep refreshing it. You have to always have this new aspect to get new players. Keep that fresh content reel going when it comes to an MMO. So when they have a new area or when they introduce a new area, you get to explore it and it's super cool. But then they have to move on, and there's a lot of stuff that gets left behind. And I think Mount Rokon did a really good job in addressing some of the stuff that we were curious about in Stormblood, and they expanded on it, like allowing us to go into Hingashi proper and learn about the Hingashi people. I was like, this was awesome. I was so obsessed with it. So if anything, if I stick to anything, Endwalker producing the variant dungeon site, like that concept alone, like one of the best. I was like, but it took me some time to get into it. Like I was like, in the very beginning, wasn't really into it, but when I started and I did all the routes, I was like, okay, I'm all about it. Variant dungeons is where it's at. If anyone has questions, like deeper questions about like in-game stuff, I think that's the best place to answer it because it's like they were able to put so much information in just one area, and I loved it. That was super cool. But yeah, overall, I'm excited for what Dawntrail has planned because I definitely now knowing that they finished Final Fantasy 16, they're going to be able to have more manpower behind it. They're going to be able to have more uh, intention and things like that. Because I respect the studio. CBU3 has done some incredible work, but it doesn't matter. You can be the best person on the end game dev, but when you split your mind between two projects, it's going to something's going to fall. So I've always not to say it in a negative light, but I know because they were working on Final Fantasy 16, they weren't able to provide as many as extensive as resources as they usually do to 14. So now that 16 is complete, we're going to be able to see them all working on 14 now, and we'll have to. And I feel like that's going to be visual. Like we're going to be able to see that and feel that when Dawntrail drops. So,
God, I hope so.
Yeah.
Hello, I know how to tell time.
Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Before we get Crystal's take on Endwalker, ladies and gentlemen, Wrath from Wrath Games. Wrath, tell the audience a little bit about yourself.
I do the stupid solo challenge. I stick myself into a singular city until I'm a level 90 fisher. I get lost every other minute, and
Accurate.
Oh no!
Oh!
I was about to say, oh no, he disappeared.
It was great. It was great. Hello.
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 Nice to finally have you, Wrath. But going off of what Croton said, Crystal,
Yeah.
your opinions.
Oh my gosh. Okay. I feel like I should have taken notes because you guys touched on so many things that I had to stand upon. Oh my god, I really should have taken notes.
You're dealing with a bunch of lore
Oh my
nerds
gosh.
here. Don't
Yeah,
worry
it's a
about
little
it.
intimidating. I'm like, hi, it's me. I'm basic.
No.
I played this game on a
You basic. You only run one of the biggest community events in the fucking MMO.
One of the best community events.
Indeed, true.
Oh god, I never thought of it like that. I'm not gonna I don't wanna think about it. But yeah, let's see. I guess I'll touch upon the last thing I was talked about was the FF4 involvement aspect. Well, besides CB3, I do completely agree that like it definitely feels like they were definitely split project, and FF14 definitely got the shorter end of the stick in terms of getting paid attention to. But I also agree it doesn't necessarily need as much attention because like yeah, Yoshi P wants you to play other games. And I also I do think that there was enough content and Endwalker. I think that that's an unpopular opinion because I know people are like wanting content in the game right now. But like I'm a person that loves going into past old content, and there's just so much to do in FF14 that like I was kind of happy that they didn't have a lot of Endwalker stuff, like a new area for the relic stuff, because I was like, man, because I gotta still do the Shadowbringers. Yeah, Shadowbringers relic. I was like, like I gotta finish up the last like Endwalker one or the last one. Because I never finished Bozja. I did Eureka in its entirety, but I did not finish Bozja actually. So Yeah, these like old
I don't
content.
blame
It
you.
like I like the incentivizing of doing older stuff rather than just keep on stressing me out with new stuff that I won't be able to keep up with. Um, but yeah, and then in terms of the story, I was a little bit, just a little bit disappointed because I played FF4 and it was not my, it's one of my least favorite Final Fantasies, to be honest. Like, I do like it for what it is, but in terms of like comparing it to other Final Fantasies, it's not up there for me. So
I'm saying this right now. Final Fantasy IV stands, you leave her alone.
I would say
I mean, I
I'm
did
willing to
play
take an
it
opinion.
and
It's fine.
I
It's fine.
enjoyed it. It's not like I disliked the game. Like, I enjoyed it for what it was. It's just like, I don't think it's, one of the stronger FF titles is
That's
pretty
fair.
much all I'm saying.
That's fair.
And that's totally fair. I could hear people typing in the comment section already. Don't you dare.
Yeah.
And as far as my fandom for 4 goes, 4 is like one of the only ones I've played before 14. So it's like I don't have I didn't play all the others to be able to compare. So I'm like, yo, I respect it because it's like if you've played the others, you probably have better. You probably remember the other ones being better too. So it's like I respect
Yeah, I just hated the fact, like, sometimes I don't mind predictability and plot. So, whenever I'm finishing up like point 4 patch and like I'm like, okay, Zeromus is definitely coming. Like, if you played
it.
FF4, you know exactly what's gonna happen in
Yeah.
these whole patch cycles, which can be fine. Like, sometimes it's not about the destination, it's about the journey. So I'm like, okay,
Mhm.
well, if they can make it different and make it more exciting than maybe FF4 plot handled it, then sure, I'd be down. Just give it like an extra flavor, and I think it's fine. But I don't personally. I feel like that journey wasn't that great. I think the best part was probably Zero. I
Mhm.
think they did
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they did a generally like a good job with her. But yeah, I don't know why. I just feel like there's something still lacking, and I don't think it's her fault entirely, or it just. I felt a little empty. And I don't know if that's a like if I don't know if it's just because I wasn't like the biggest fan of 4 to begin with going into this. So I'm like, ah, okay, like I have a more negative mindset going into this plot. So that could be a factor too. But needless to say, like MSQ, as I love the story in this game, but the truly special part to me is just all of the other content that I can do. The raid series I thought was extremely strong. I loved
Mm.
the raid series. I loved
Yeah.
Pandemonium. That was a huge highlight. The ultimates that we got out of this expansion, like Endwalker, was fantastic. I can't complain in like the other areas. I like that they experimented with the criteria dungeon because for years since I like started playing FF14, people have been wanting like a savage dungeon
Mhm.
type of gameplay in the game, and they finally like started delivering on that. And I am excited about the prospect of where Criterion Dungeon can go in the future because I do think that there's a lot of room for improvement. So yeah, I think that they have a great start with it, and I haven't even done like the most recent Criterion Dungeon. I just did the first one, but I really did like the concept, and I'm just excited to see how they develop it in the future because I hope they do at least because I really did enjoy it. But yeah, gosh, and Walker had so much stuff, but I guess that's like my general feelings. It's like it's a mixed bag. Like I haven't been able to play as much in the past few months, but I haven't been mad about it. Like I don't know, I don't feel like I'm missing out on too much, and at the same time, it's like putting on I don't know, putting on an old glove. It just fits whenever you come back to FF14, and I still have like so many things that I can do and so many things that I can enjoy that the overall picture of FF14 has not changed for me, despite me not being like the happiest. I don't think it is a game changer, really.
No, yeah, and I don't think anyone, or at least no one I've seen, has suddenly done a 180 on 14 going like,
Yeah, yeah.
Endwalker made the game awful.
Mm,
I just hear a lot of people saying like they're not as impressed with Endwalker as they were with previous expansions,
Right.
right.
which
Yeah.
honestly I understand because for all the different reasons and points that all of you brought up. For everything Endwalker did right, it feels like there was something that was kind of like missed that would have like stuck the landing. I agree with Grotone that the variant dungeons were one of the best things I think added to the game in a
Yeah.
while. I had so much fun with those. But then the other shoe drops. the rewards were kind of butt.
Yeah.
Like, no one really cared about what you got out of them. It's like, oh, you got a mountain stuff, and like, oh, there's the hard mode of the dungeon, but all you get from that is materia?
Yeah, that's so true.
And then, so people were definitely confused on that front. And then it's like, oh, it's like, awesome, we got 2 new ultimates for the people that really love the try hard side of Final Fantasy 14. But we didn't have anything like Bozia, Eureka, or a relic grind to cut our teeth on for like the mid-core stuff. So then you had all those people kind of twiddling their thumbs going like,
what do we do now? Yeah. No,
what do we do now?
Obviously, you are not a title collector. I will have you know that completing the Savages does get you a fancy title, and that's all I could ever need to do it.
That's fair.
Ultimate Legend, by the way. Hello.
Yeah,
I am tempted.
exactly.
The latest one drops the an item you can turn in to get particle effects on the tombstone weapons, which got me really interested. So because those weapons
I didn't even know that.
Yeah, the Ala Ala Island Savage, I think it is. I don't know if it's Savage or the extra one, but it drops an item you turn into an NPC, and you can basically add particle effects to your tombstone weapon. So all those player created weapons can now look like, relic weapons, and it's like that's exciting to me. I'm like, oh, I want those. But
honestly, that was a good addition to the Alo stuff. It's a shame it took them the third
one,
variant dungeon to add something like that. But no, so whenever I hear people say they loved Endwalker and people say they didn't like it so much, I think most of it, in my own personal observation, comes to the points that all of you already noted. Number one, the studio had moved a lot of its resources to work on Final Fantasy 16. No 2 cents about it, something was going to have to give. And like in Endwalker, I think you can feel it. But I don't think it's just Final Fantasy 16's fault. I also think that this was the height, I think, when Endwalker production was in full swing, was when the pandemic was going on.
Sent everyone home, and they had to work from home. And
Exactly. So that caused a huge bump in the road for a while for the studio likely as well. So between 16, the pandemic, and a few other withstanding factors, I can only imagine. I'm just like,
Yeah, I don't want to get into it because it's something we could possibly discuss later. But like all the content around launch of Dawntrail, and even then like the 7.1, 7.3 content, like if you look at it all and you start adding it up, and even if you start spacing it out, pretty healthily, it's still a very large amount of content. And I think it's definitely like backloaded. Like, all right, so we took our little break with Endwalker. There was a lack of stuff, but between what we know you guys want to do and what new surprises what we have for you, they've got a lot of content for us, and I am very excited for that. And it's kind of daunting at the same time, just because we've gone from like drip fed very little content that you could either spend a day or a week on, to content that we're going to be sitting on for a long while. So yeah, for instance, like the relic, it's going to be a whole zone. They said that. We don't know if it's going to be 7.1, 7.2, 7.3 like Eureka was or something like that. We don't know that yet, but that is coming, and I think players are going to remember what day one Eureka feels like. It's one of those things.
hey, day one Eureka was
that
tight.
was a time. And honestly, just to give people context as well, is I know 14 takes a lot of people's opinions, for better or for worse. So like, for instance, with the relic, everyone says, can we just have like a tome step? And they were like, all right, bet. We want to save time. Why don't we just make it all tome steps? Yeah, and everyone's like, wait. No, that's too far, right? Because there were some people, and anybody that did Eureka would know that there were some people that legitimately hated Eureka. They're like, don't give me a new zone. There's people that, a lot of people fell off with Pagos. And so they tried to do it like a half and half with Bozia. And I think Bozia hit it out of the park, in my personal honesty. But I know some people still hated Bozia. They're like, oh, you got to do a whole new zone that I got to be in for hours and do and everything. Oh, this sucks.
Which is crazy to me, because you got some players that still swear by Eureka and go back there constantly.
I will say
Rabbit Gang is The rabbit game is very important. All right.
Eureka is interesting as a design because if I recall, it was meant to emulate Final Fantasy XI
Mm-hmm.
in terms of its
Yeah.
gameplay, and I think a lot of the people that really enjoy it were the Final Fantasy XI players. So
Yeah.
for them, it's nostalgia. But I never grew up in that MMO era. You know, I never played any MMOs that came out during that time. So when I got into it, I was like, "Oh, I don't." You know,
Exactly.
when I realized how much work I had to do for this place, I was like, "I'm not interested."
I think one of the biggest reasons places like Eureka and Bodzia did so well is because I feel like it bullseyes what people would consider mid-core content. It isn't extreme, savage, or ultimate endgame stuff, but it isn't easy either. So
Have you seen
you have to go in
Baldesian
and
Arsenal
understand
or
what you're doing.
DRS?
Okay, all right. So all right. Hold on. We need to preface something here. You don't need to do DRS or the Baldesian Arsenal, but but it could be fun. So
try it.
maybe give it a shot. Exactly.
You get the ball.
You don't need to do those things for like the relic and everything. Is what I'm saying.
Oh,
Like
okay.
you can just complete it.
Okay.
But no, honestly, I think those were amazing things, and I think this brings up a great point. It feels like we have two sides of the Final Fantasy XIV community that have been butting heads lately. And, like, I did an entire video about this a long time ago. Like, silent majority versus vocal minority, and, like, how those people in the 14 community interact. It's like you said, people were saying, hey, we want easy tombstone relic grind. And Yoshi P was like, okay, bet. And he did that. And then other people that didn't want that are suddenly raising their hand going, hey, what the hell? And I feel like it's the same thing with things like job homogenization, dungeon homogenization, the 2-minute meta. You have some people that love that stuff, but the people that enjoyed like the people like astrologians that enjoyed the nocturnal and diurnal sect are now sitting there going, what are you doing?
In the cards, yeah.
So
Miss those.
yeah, so the 14 community seems to be like finally hitting its weird, I guess you would say, growth spurt in the terms of not everyone is uniform with what they want anymore.
Right.
But I do think Dawntrail has an amazing opportunity to wow everyone, because like we all said, like even though Endwalker might not have been everything that everyone wanted, it was enough. It did its job. It came in, it finished the 10-year story, wrapped up plenty of things, and now, after all, some of us have gone to the FanFests and done all of that stuff, and we finally got to see all the trailers. How does everyone feel about the introduction of all the just stuff we've been getting drip fed, as well as stuff like the addition of the new jobs like Pictomancer and Viper, which I totally called, by the way, not just saying I did, but I did. So
Okay, wait. Can I start with a hot take here?
Go for it.
Okay,
I
this
love
is
hot
like
takes.
super hot. I haven't heard anybody like. I feel bad because I don't like being a negative Nancy, but
Go for it.
I am actually not a fan of the Dawntrail trailers.
Really?
Okay,
is
because
hot.
like
What about the Dawntrail trailers doesn't impress you?
there's nothing in them. There's no substance. Like I look back at Stormblood and Shadowbringers and Endwalker, especially Shadowbringers. Like I thought that was like peak trailer. Especially the
Right.
progression of their extended trailers. You look at the first one and then the second and third, they actually like reveal a lot of story things, a lot of things that they show you that get your interest peaked. Like, ooh, how the crap is Y'shtola being called Matoya right now? Like some simple little things like that. But then like Dawntrail, from trailer to trailer, I feel like it was just cameo to cameo of characters, like just to get you hyped up. Oh my god, look, it's Estinian. Oh my god, it's Graha with the taco. But like there's no substance. It's just like just getting you hyped up over these characters and you just see them.
Just a whole lot of fan service.
Yeah, it just felt fan servicey to me. But like the thing that I'm most intrigued about with Dawntrail was in the live letter that they had in JP Fan Fest with like the cyberpunk-esque like city. That like if that was in your
Solution
trailer,
9?
hello,
Yeah.
I'd be interested. But yeah, it just I really feel like the Dawntrail. I feel like I'm the only one that's like disappointed by the trailers. Like they just feel fan servicey. There's nothing in them that I'm like super intrigued, like gets my interest piqued, like, oh, I want to figure out like what that beast is, or like, I don't know, it just didn't do anything for me.
It's the beach episode. Of course, it's gonna be fan servicey.
That's
Ugh,
that's
it's
I was gonna say
so
that's
Yeah.
my take.
But Thancred and the Nutkin though.
My biggest thing is
it makes
when
sense. That makes sense.
No, she honestly, I think she's right.
'Cause I'm reviewing in my head right now, and
regards.
I'm just like, yeah, there really isn't anything impactful. It's just like everyone's
Mm-hmm.
hanging out, everyone's having a good
Like
time.
let's look at the big things that happen in the trailer that are different from what we've already seen.
Graha
What?
ate a taco.
We
Victim
we've
answer.
already seen him eat a burger. That's nothing new. We saw the Autarch fight the Warrior of
Yeah, I
Light,
think that
which is
Viper
of course
fight
how
sticks out to me the most.
Yeah, those were some
The
words.
Viper fight is pretty cool.
I'd say picked them at like the two drop job things are like the two things that stand out, while all the others are like just showing us what like the Scions and other NPCs are doing. I think that's like the whole trailer if I think about it.
Yeah,
And then Luke
like, as I
Lamott's
look
reveal
it,
at
I'm
the
like,
very
huh.
end, but
Mhm.
because
Like, I want to know about the story.
yeah, that's a good
I suppose that might be the point. Like, since this is the start of a brand new arc for Final Fantasy XIV, they're probably trying to make it wait in the wings long enough
I
until
hope.
people get their hands
I
on
really
it.
hope
Right.
so.
Honestly, same. Because, look, I feel like my opinion on some parts of Endwalker are already far too well documented by some angry fans. But, like, for example, the moment in Elpis, when you go back in time and you meet up with Emmet Selk and do all of that, half the time it felt like the MSQ was going, hey, remember Emmet Selk? Remember how much you liked him in Shadowbringers? Hey, he's here again.
They literally
he's
have you
grumpy.
beg
Isn't
him,
that...
beg.
Yeah, yeah.
The whole please Emma self. I was
It-
like, oh no.
Exactly. It felt very... The entire Elpis event felt a little weird and fan servicey the first half, and then the second half just felt, I don't know, Hermes, you idiot.
I agree.
I absolutely love the Opus section just because I'm a massive Emmet Selk fan.
Right.
I mean, my biggest thing is I think they worked on the Opus section like while we're in because they work on them as far as we're aware. Like 2 years ahead of time or something like that.
2 years. And,
So yeah, as we're like gushing over Emmett in Shadowbringers, they're like, oh, these kids don't even know. These kids don't know that they got a whole section to go through with this guy.
But I also, like, wasn't it a thing where originally Endwalker was supposed to be 2 different expansions?
They talked
Like,
about
wasn't that
it.
the original
They
plan?
talked about because I know they wanted to make Garlemald a separate thing, but then decided.
Yeah,
not to.
Garlemald was going to be its own thing, and then Endwalker was going
Right.
to be like the final climax.
Yeah, there's an interview somewhere that talks about that, like the change in development as they decided to combine things. I want to say it was
Missed
a
that.
Famitsu interview or something, but
Personally, that's why I feel that Endwalker storing a few places feels extremely rushed. But again, that's just me.
But to just mention about the Dawntrail trailer, I as somebody that like I recently just looked at the 1.0 trailer. Like I mean like full on 2011 1.0 trailer, like 2012, whatever it was. 1.0 trailer. And the Dawntrail trailer definitely feels like that because I mean we just get, for all intents and purposes, Arbert picking up a leaf plate and like having a mind trip, right? And then that's about it. So with this, more or less, we're like taking a tour around Tyrol and whatnot, and we get some cool job things, and then we get like a scene at the boat at the end, right? Like it's just sort of like, here's our adventure, this is what we're going on. I'm not going to tell you anything else. And I think that's kind of the vibe they're going with. Like I said, they could totally not stick the landing, and I'll be vocal about that. But I feel like they're just sort of like, here's an adventure, ready your sails. I think that's what they're. I think that's the vibe. Yeah, it's definitely. It's not going to hold a candle to Shadowbringers or Endwalker, just because the
Shadowbringers
music
trailer was
for those.
insane.
Yeah, like Shadowbringers is just. I was looking at that again like a couple weeks ago, and I was like, this is really like peak trailer. So yeah, I agree.
Honestly, the Shadowbringers trailer, in my opinion, has been the best
Yeah.
one.
I remember.
For
I
sure.
remember how loud people got when that first dropped. That was insane. It was just everything about it was overboard. Yeah, we're like, is that rock? we were so used to the orchestral, the way they used to have it back in the day with the chanting, and then it's just a guitar starts playing. We're like, huh? Like it was so good. Every
Funny
new
thing,
reveal
for
that
an
was
ex-
great.
Yeah.
For an expansion called Shadowbringers, we really don't use darkness all that much.
You should talk to Moose about that sometime. He gets mad about it every time.
Dude, well, look, I pointed out all the time too. It's like, oh, it's called Shadowbringers.
He's like, we were
and,
going to use the
like, all
darkness.
this-
We were supposed to use the darkness. We never did.
We were supposed to use darkness.
It was a false
Oh
lead.
my
Red
God.
herring.
Red herring, you lied to me, Yoshibi. Or I think at that point, I think it was Ichikawa-san who was
She started. That's when
writing
she
that.
first
Yeah.
started doing MSQ. Well, she did do MSQ for Stormblood, but she was only in charge of like the Far East portion of it. So this was her first time being in charge of the whole thing. But yeah, we didn't use darkness like the trailer told us we were going to do. So
Oh my God! Because I'm reminded of that every time we go back to the first, and they say, "Oh, it's the Warrior of Darkness." I'm like, "Stop calling me that! Stop it!"
that's funny.
But so the Dawntrail trailer. God, that always sounds weird to say.
Yeah.
The Dawntrail trailer.
Oh.
It's a weird one.
So the trailer. I think we can all agree. While not as impactful as previous ones, that's probably by design.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah,
vibe.
I
I
disagree.
could see that.
Mm.
Yeah. Yes,
I
right.
disagree.
Ooh.
I think
Let's hear it, man.
personally, I would think that Dawntrail's trailer has actually probably been the most impactful out of all the trailers for me.
Ooh.
Ooh.
Go for
just-
it. Tell us
Just
why.
from my own little personal connection to it, because I mean, I'm tired. I've done
Oh.
so much stuff. I've gone on so many world-ending adventures, and this time they're just giving me a beach day. This is all I wanted. I'm
More power
going
to
back
ya.
to my roots. I'm having a little funny adventure. I'm competing with my friends. There's no god destroying the universe.
Yeah.
My
there's-
anime.
The only thing that I will be upset about is that I know for a fact, as tragic as it is, that I will not get to see Xenos on my beach episode. My favorite. I'm very sad about it.
Can we please let him stay dead?
Oh my
No,
God,
please.
Bring him back. I need him.
Never.
No, let him. Oh,
He's gonna come attack us in swim trunks.
Please.
Oh, no.
Yes.
please no.
We could just have a splash
stay
fight. It's
dead.
great. We could be buddies.
It's funny you say that because I remember I just saw a TikTok of a guy with long blonde hair who was dancing, and someone tagged it as Xenos and Dawntrail, and I was like, no.
Don't.
It's like they would
Well,
do that with
look,
me.
my opinion of Xeno stretches back all the way to Stormblood. I thought his end in the MSQ was actually perfectly done. I thought wow, what a crazy yet fun character, and I thought the way he left stage was amazing. And then they brought him back, and I'm like, okay. So now that he's gone again, I'm like, oh, please stay.
I do like how they played
personal.
it.
Go ahead.
Oh, good. I like how they played it. How he was like, "Wait, why am I still alive?" Like he didn't even know why. Like he
Not even he wanted.
was
to
like,
be
"Oh man, come on!" Like,
I personally, as well as one of my buddies, was almost a little disappointed with how Xenos was finished in Stormblood, because it felt a bit weird to spend all of this time talking to and dealing with the guy, and then at the end we don't fight the guy, we fight a dragon. It was kind of weird, and I think that
Well, we
bringing
did
him
fight
back
him
for
in the dungeon.
yeah, but like, yeah, I felt like having him as the trial would have been cooler, And then
Mhm.
the resolution I got with Endwalker made me a lot happier. That is a much better end, personally, in my mind, than the Stormblood end for Xenos.
I'm really disappointed that I can't go back and get the cutscene of the Warrior of Light and him punching each other.
Oh my god.
I had so many meme videos planned, and once I realized I couldn't recapture that footage, I was pissed.
Devastated.
Yeah, something hits different about playing any sort of magic user, and then just being like, you know what, it's just straight hands for now. It's a really good scene.
Magic fist.
Yeah.
I bet for Monk mains, it was just another cutscene. Oh man. So, apparently, based off of what I've been told through the recent interviews and stuff, with Pictomancer coming in, we haven't had a new caster class since Stormblood with Red Mage.
Blue Mage
No,
Racer.
we're not
Blue
talking
Mage
about-
Racer.
Don't-
Blue Mage
no,
Racer.
we're not talking about Blue Mage.
Red Mage.
No.
Red Mage.
Fleet Mage.
Red Mage
Hold
only.
on. Wait. What you said, Red Mage. I have to go on a tangent because now we're talking about a minute ago. You were saying that we have the funny classes that got added with Dawntrail, and I still hold out the copium that they're just gonna pull the rug out from under us, and we're actually getting Rune Fencer instead of
wow.
Viper. Thank you. Please.
For a second there, I thought you were going to say Corsair, and then I was just going to make fun of you.
No. I just need my Rune Fencer. I would like to be anything connected to Red Mage. Thank you.
Oh my god.
That's fair.
But no, so apparently, Pictomancer is going to be the first job in a long while, or caster added in a while, that doesn't have Raise. So Black Mage isn't going to be alone anymore.
I hate this.
Thank God.
As it should be.
No, not as it should be.
Yeah,
Give Black
as
Mage
was
raise and
ordained.
make them suffer like me. I don't want to be Resbot anymore.
No, you picked red. You picked up the red. This is your calling now. Congratulations.
I think having
You can-
two razors and two non-razors, and then one be like a really high damage non-razor, and the other one being like a pretty supporty non-razor, I think is the way they're going with this. And I don't know. I like that. I like that.
But I just like that it's tied to Kryl more than anything. We can
Mhm.
Right.
chat about
Giving her
that
a
because, like,
chance.
yeah, Kryl relevancy is so long called for. Holy crap!
Kryl is one of those characters who's been in the story for so long, but has only had like a handful of opportunities to have the spotlight on
Yeah.
them, which is unfortunate because, like, Kryl as a character, I mean, if you're a lore nerd, she's actually really competent and cool.
Yeah. She is. So it's nice to see her actually get some attention. Mm-hmm.
Proud of her.
About that.
So
I like
Kryl,
that. I love the upgrade.
Kryl
I thought it was really cool.
really forced around in Eureka more so than anything else, which does
Right.
lead me to believe that maybe next time around we get somebody from Bajja as a big boy. Who knows? Perhaps.
Oh,
Hmm.
Could be pretty nice. Or maybe
Huh.
maybe my bald relic man will finally get to marry a hot rich wife. That's all I could ever
Well,
want.
bald blacksmith man did marry hot rich wife in the first.
You're proud of him.
There's a whole story to that, and I don't know if she's still safe. That's the question. Because if he does anything, Reeman's going to come back with a vengeance. So I'm like, maybe.
I thought that was paid off though.
I think no, he did pay it off, but like the deal was,
Yeah, the debt was paid
yeah.
off.
Riemann said the deal was he had to cut all contact off with her, or he would sick the bad people on her. So he's had to like maintain the distance on purpose. And I don't know if Riemann's still like jealous enough to be like, oh yeah, I'm totally going to still do that years later. But we'll see. I don't know if it's just the whole story is really sad. It's like, and then Riemann,
Well, since we're still in a time bubble, he's probably just as mad now as he
Right.
was all the way
Yep.
back then.
he's probably still jealous. So I'm like,
If
all I'm
I
saying is
read
if we
this,
just
I've
if we
joined the
just
circle.
oh, hey, welcome.
Yeah.
All we gotta do is just
Look at
make
you with your
Riemann
little
disappear.
crown.
I've been saying that from day one. I was like, make Riemann disappear, and then the two of them could get back together, and it'd be great. Everyone's happy.
Honestly, all the Warrior of Light has to do to fix that situation is like get between him and
Literally,
Riemann and
like,
go,
what is Riemann
do
gonna
you
do?
know who I am?
It's like I saved this world from being destroyed. Like, come on, man.
Do you,
really
have
want to
any idea
mess
how
with me
many
right now?
gods I've killed?
Like, you're a little jealous, spat. It needs to stop. Oh.
Oh my god. Maybe he died in the final days. Who knows?
Wow.
I think he's still. I
Can't
think he's
believe it.
still at a Swift. Was it over there at in Lenosha? You can find him in the corner.
Still in the
Yeah,
corner.
he's still
being a
sulking.
little
I was like,
asshole.
man. Like, get over it already. She didn't
So-
choose you.
She didn't choose you, you loser. But all that being said, and with what limited knowledge we do know, and just like Crystal brought up earlier with the sudden and surprising reveal of Solution 9, what about the future of Final Fantasy XIV, or rather the future of Dawntrail, has any of you the most excited? Like, what are you expecting or hoping to see the most out of the expansion coming up?
I would like a boat. Um,
Cool.
let me sail around, please. But barring that, I think when we can maybe, I'm sure that the answer is just going to be Alligans, but maybe an ancient civilization with super cool tech that is not the Alligans that did Solution 9. That would be pretty sick. Do more, send me to space more. That could be pretty cool. Who knows?
I mean, they got the cosmic exploration. That's going to be a
Yeah.
plan. So
I think that would be really
Yeah,
cool.
that's gonna be interesting.
As someone who doesn't craft, I'm willing to see what everyone else is getting into. I will watch from afar.
I'm real. So with the cosmic exploration, like the way it was phrased, I believe, was that like we're trying to fix space.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Was it or something?
to that effect.
We're trying to.
Like-
What do you mean? What does it mean? It's very plain. It's very blatant. We are trying to fix space.
But what does it
So-
mean?
No. You're thinking too much.
Oh my
You
god! I'm
you
letting
are
know.
you are using the brain cells. Do not do that. Just think space. It's all you need.
Space is hurt, and we need to
Exactly.
Space is hurt.
Slap a band-aid? Wait, what's
Yeah,
flex
yeah.
tape?
We have to go to the moon.
Like, yes, exactly. Space is black. Flex tape is black. Therefore, flex tape is black.
And then fixed it.
We go to moon.
Fixed it.
We give it little band-aid. We go home. It's perfect.
But like, are we fixing it by becoming one again? Like, what does it mean?
So, from what I understand, either we're just doing general stuff with the Loporrits on the moon, or we're straight up traveling to other minor locations in the cosmos to try and, I suppose, make reparations to civilizations or cultures that were affected by the final days.
Okay.
On their
I'm
own
more on the
terms.
second one, yeah, because they did. Well, we had like 18 civilizations identified in Ultima Thule, and
And those are just the named
Yeah.
ones. There are other
So-
ones that aren't named.
and we know, yeah. Even what was it in the Omega series? Near the very end, Omega goes through like a travel log and names a bunch of different worlds that it had to stop by to before, or like it passed by before it got to Theris. So it's like there's a bunch of other planets out there, but from what we understand, we're the only ones with sustainable life at the moment. So if there was some sort of like incentive to be like, hey, let's extend the ether that we have here over there, or something to that effect, like I could see that being the plot, like just trying to repair the universe in a way from the final days.
Exactly. Even the Manderville quest pointed out that there were entire
Manderville-
worlds that
Manderville
hadn't. It feels weird
so
saying
weird.
the Manderville quest points this out, but they do. They like the Mandervillans.
Yeah.
Like when they started to succumb to the final days, they had to evacuate and try to survive, and that just but we didn't hear about the Mandervillians until that quest, which suggests or asserts that there were multiple worlds that hadn't fallen yet, that the Endsinger just straight up snapped out of existence. Like,
Crystal.
she ruined, like, untold worlds.
Crystal.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Crystal.
What?
Did you know there were 18 in old? I thought there were 3.
Oh my god.
Wait, what?
They just said there were 18.
Wait, what does it mean?
I don't understand. What does any of this mean? What is going on?
Did you guys not pay attention
no.
to the quest prompts when you were
What?
doing the dungeon?
Of course I did.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
love. Yes, it's great. Yeah,
This is
I
why I
am
do
the
fun facts,
queen of
just to remind
cake.
people things.
This is why fun facts exist.
There's always sometimes something I think is just obvious, and somebody's like, "Oh, I had no idea," and I'm like, "Oh, Awesome. That's why I'm here.
A fun fact, does a post on Twitter one day. It says, did you know that the sky of Final Fantasy 14 is blue? And someone is all like, wow, really?
I would say that. Yeah, that's about me.
All right, you guys are giving me ideas. Great.
I saw 3 gamers in Ultima Thule, and so I said, wow, 3 civilizations. That's cool. And that was about it.
So the trick is in the numbers, because they actually name the civilizations by numbers, and they go up to the number 18. So there are 18 civilizations represented. You just don't see them all.
Yeah, and those are just the 18 confirmed ones.
Exactly.
There are others that fell that are undocumented.
Wait, there
what did you say, Chris?
More?
Yeah, there were. Well, you have to think, the End Singer, when she was doing her depressy song, she was infecting the entire universe. So, and the universe is a big place. At some point, she was coming upon all sorts of worlds.
Yeah, the Mandervillians, like mentioned earlier, they were one.
Yeah, the Mandervillians fell to the final days. And imagine how horrible of that must have been. Your entire civilization is minding its own business, probably doing just fine, doing its own thing out there in space, and then out of nowhere, the Ragnarok occurs, and there's nothing you can do about it.
All they say is, "Oh, the world is nothingness. If everybody else dies, you guys have to too." And you're just like, "Oh, okay, gee, thanks."
And then you have exactly entire civilizations screaming toward the sky, what happened, what did we do wrong? And yet you still got people that think Hermes is a good guy.
the one that actually
he was kind of hot.
Honestly, that's probably the one reason you got so many Hermes apologists. He's just but he was cute.
Same thing with Zed.
We love an attractive sad boy, apparently.
Yeah, pretty privilege as a villain is a very real thing.
Privilege.
It is a very real thing. People didn't like it when I pointed out that the entire reason you're so willing to forgive Medion is because she's designed to look like a little girl. I am willing to bet money that if she was designed as a Cthulhu-style monster, no one would feel sorry for her.
Right.
I agree.
But I prefer Cthulhu's.
Crystal, are you a Zeromus apologist?
No.
Okay.
Absolutely not.
I tried.
That's fun.
Nah.
Oh,
this is what we were saying. If Zeromus was just a cute little guy, then you would be.
Oh, we would, for sure. 100%.
Though that does bring up a good point. It took using the Mother Crystal and all of that ether just to travel to Ultima Thule. How are we going to get around space now?
The power of friendship.
Lockroot money,
Please
obviously.
God,
The
no.
power
Lockroot
of
money.
love
Yeah.
and
I mean, the power of
I got
love and
the power of
anime
God
got
and
us
anime
through a
on my
fight
side.
already, so I'm sure it could get us through space. I'm genuinely I'm gonna put 25 cents on this. All right,
25.
we're gonna go there.
lot.
We're gonna talk to the Loporrits. The Loporrits are gonna be like, we need to use the concentrated power of joy from the people of Eorzea to be able to fly our ship, and that will
Or
power us to
Dynamis.
go into
We
space.
could just use Dynamis.
Let's not and say we did.
I got it.
Okay.
So
Oh,
we're
let's
gonna
hear it.
talk to the Loporrits, and they're gonna be like, "So we actually found a third source of power. There's the ether, there's the dynamis, and then there's the poopus.
I was not
There's
ready
the
for
third
that. Was
source of power
perfect.
that no one ever knew about until just
Oh my
now."
Oh my god.
We
That's
have
exactly,
That's
created
exactly what they
the
sound like. I didn't expect that at all.
that would drive me, I would flip my table because the way Dynamis was introduced in Endwalker. Okay, anyone who says that, Dynamis was hinted at other expansions, no, it wasn't.
This is exclusively Endwalker. I will
It was
stand by that.
exclusively Endwalker reveal,
Yeah,
and if you're saying it was hinted at beforehand, you're crazy.
Yeah, no, I agree. It was
And
kind of BS, and that's why I bring up, there's a third energy
What's
source
that?
now.
Exactly.
magic
So if the
word?
Loporrits really do walk up to me and say "Oh, we were able to discover that there is a third energy that no one knew about until now," I am punting a rabbit into the
It's gonna- We have
stratosphere.
created the equivalent of hydroponics, but for our spaceship. Please use the onboard restrooms.
or maybe they're gonna approach us one day and be like, while you were away, we invented cold vision.
Oh my god.
They just create a sun inside the moon as
They
propulsion.
create a sun.
No, they create a Dyson sphere.
Have you ever heard of a nuclear reactor?
They create something as crazy as like a Dyson sphere, and they pass it off as like a hobby. It's like, oh, Dyson Way just had like some spare time. He decided to contain a sun.
Amazing.
That's how we're literally going to planet jump. I like it.
So we created the sun.
We created a sun.
The sun that's ours this whole time.
They have a Spider-Man 2 moment. The power of the sun in the palm of my hand.
I can't.
I'm calling it though. It's gonna be a third energy source that no one.
I swear, please.
I'm to
Please.
buy something to drink if that happens. That's gonna be my drinking game. It's like, what kind of way do we use to travel?
I
to
will
space?
fly over to Japan just to like post a sticky note on the studio's door saying, "What are you doing?"
Stop adding energy sources.
Hello. This is my new friend, the Loperate Hadron Way. They've just created the Large Hadron Collider. I hope you find some fun experiences in this. This is very good for learning how to dodge and savage, because if you go into it, and then it just blasts right through you and you die. It's great. I think Hadron Way did a great job.
No. That's every donut AoE.
Oh no.
Yeah.
You become the donut AoE.
You become the donut.
Phenomenal.
So
We've solved it.
I must admit, Scribe. Maybe it was possibly because I came in approximately 18 minutes late, maybe just a little bit. How's it going? What are we talking about?
Well, you're hearing it, dude. We're just talking about. We started with the state of Endwalker. We started with like how we felt about the expansion and the conclusion of a 10-year story, and we moved on to what we saw at the FanFest and the trailers of Dawntrail, and now we're moving on to like just what we're saying. And some dude in a dress just suddenly appeared on screen.
Yeah, that's
1 hour later.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, sudden Makote in a dress. Was not expecting that.
well,
So my train of thought. So now we're just like talking about what we're expecting to see in Dawntrail moving forward, and now that we've gotten space travel out of the way, I actually want to circle back to what Crystal said earlier with the sudden introduction of Solution 9. What about its sudden reveal caught your attention, Crystal? Because a lot of people were surprised for one reason or another. You had some people saying like, "Yeah, Solution 9, that looks awesome." You had some people going like, "What the hell, Solution 9?"
Because it's different. That's why. So like.
Yeah.
I'm so happy that the 14 team is like so excited to show off Tural and like the whole continent. Like, oh, look at our foraging. Yeah, look at all the trees and the leaves. They're great. And I'm like, yeah, that's great. But like, I need some diversity, you know? Like, so all these trailers are showing the forages and the battles. But then you have this thing that stands out that's completely unlike anything you've ever seen before. And that's exactly what I want to see. I want to see something new, something with pizzazz, something that's going to blow my socks off. And then I'll put them back on after. But
okay,
that's what I want. So, like.
Have you ever seen a beach?
Yeah, but
Because
like.
we're getting one of those. That's new.
Did they have a beach in the trailer, though?
I mean, technically, yes.
It's
Anything can be a beach if you try hard enough.
Oh my goodness.
You throw some sand on it.
Are we having Are we having a beach streaming episode when Dawntrail comes out?
Yeah, we can do it.
Heck
We
yeah.
can do it.
MSQ outfit's going to
Yeah,
be a
let's
swimsuit.
have a beach party.
MSQ outfits will be just a swimsuit.
But yeah, it was just so nice to see something like different. Because like I was looking for different. I'm like, oh, okay. Because like, yeah, again, like looking at any other trailer for any expansion, it's like there was something in there that like piqued my interest because it stood out as being different, and that I was waiting for that. I'm like, damn, I wish that was in the trailer, man. Like just like a glimpse of it, I'd be like, whoa, what is that?
I do have to point out something like this is very like specific to like lore mongers territory, but I found it really interesting that they decided to introduce the concept of a proto-alphabet in the third lore book, and then weeks later use that same proto-alphabet in the art for Solution 9. And it's like,
Exactly.
everyone's like, wait a second, like, hold on, is this important? Like,
It's like immediately everyone's all like, "Holy crap! Was Solution 9 built by the ancients?"
they're, like,
or
trying to figure out
maybe
why it
the
has
people who made Solution 9 are the remaining Red Mask Asians
Right.
who we've not seen.
Huh.
a lot of theories going on because it's like it's definitely important, but we don't know why.
They said we were
So-
done with the Asians. If I see a single Asian in Dawntrail, I'm gonna have an Asian.
But what if it's Emerald? He just created a little farm.
No.
You know, do his arbor stuff. You know.
Honestly, I would want to see like an ASEAN just to hear what they think about now that the final days
Yeah,
and
their whole
everything's
plan's
over.
over.
It's
Anyway,
like, well,
it's like
Yeah, they're like, oh,
yeah,
those
you don't
guys?
have to do any more rejoinings or anything.
Yeah, they're like, oh, those guys are crazy. We kind of just been chilling over. I don't know what else you want.
Well, let's see. We still have like ASEAN friends that like aren't trying to kill us anymore, like Gaia. For one.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but she's is she real? I don't know if I
She
consider
is
her to be
real?
I mean,
And I was incredibly happy when they put her in the MSQ because, like, if you've done Eden, you know, you get her at the end where she's like, "Oh, so you went to the void without telling me? Come on, you could have
Yep.
at least mentioned that to me." And I thought that was an excellent cutscene. And I just love when 14 does that. When it's like, I mean, for instance, the 5.1
references
and
to
5.2, yeah, when they're able to say, "Oh, you did this thing that wasn't MSQ, like the raid or a role quest or whatever." And they put that in story MSQ. I have so much fun with that. It's so vindicating.
That's one massive like check I'll put in Endwalker's favor. They canonized a whole lot of side content, and I couldn't be happier
Exactly.
because I'm like, oh, now I can finally talk about this like it's real.
Yeah, it's things that, I mean, for instance, let's say with the role quest and whatnot, the stories about all the other major players from each of the city states. I was doing the role quest and I was like, wait, I know where this story is going, or I know that character, and it's because I had read the short stories on the lodestone, for instance. And I was like, wow, this is something for me, you know. So I'm glad they do that, and I hope they keep doing that.
But no, everyone seems to be, or rather, the most prevailing theory at the moment is that Solution 9 has something to do with the ancients to some degree. Now, that's, of course, that's the opinion at the moment. It could be just as easy that we get to Solution 9, and it turns out the Asians made their own brand of Loporrits. We're the Dark Loporrits! We're the Loporrits of Darkness, and we're here to continue the work of our masters!
Beautiful. Beautiful.
Sometimes you just have to have a little faith
Yeah.
that they will not force us back into that.
I'd be happy about it. I do hope it's related to the ancients. I actually don't see how it wouldn't be.
I do know there's been a lot of talk about the word Solution 9 because that specific terminology references
Yeah.
Final
That's a
Fantasy
Final Fantasy 9
Yeah.
reference for sure.
Right.
So we're probably
yeah.
gonna see some more of that, maybe. But
Because Viper is just Zidane.
right,
Yeah.
yeah.
If any of you in the comment section try to correct me and say it's Zidane, I'm
Nah,
gonna
it's Zidane.
freak.
You guys were all taught
I've
wrong.
always said it's Zidane.
I'm prepared for a lot of 9 references. I've never played 9, but I mean, people who've played 9 can always, you know, let us know. But yeah, I'm excited for a lot of 9 references because yeah, the Viper
Play
and then
9.
Solution 9. I'm excited to see all this. You know, more VV stuff too. I'm sure.
I'm just saying, listen, I speak for the common man. I speak for the common girly. I speak for the common people. You know, I don't really know much about lore, but there is one thing that I know. Up to this point, there have been 3 answers for when there is a thing. And that has either been the Asians, the Alligans, or Garlemald. You know,
Mhm.
they promised me that the Asians were done. And you know what? Garlemald is in its own little world now. The Alligans are all that's left, but I would be very happy if we could escape the eternal cycle of it being one of those 3. Just to help my tiny little brain understand a little.
You know.
Well, I will say this then, since you're surrounded by lore nerds at the moment. the Alligans never officially made it to the New World during their conquest.
Yeah, they weren't interested
They
overseas.
conquered Mericidia, and then everything fell apart.
Yeah.
So they didn't go that far.
They didn't conquer. Yeah, because when they were at their peak, they took over the 3 great continents and stopped there. And then when they resurrected the Emperor, he was like, "All right, let's try the world." And then they went south, but that was as far as they went overseas. So Mericidia's got the brunt of it. We have zero record of them going out west. So if they go, "Oh, Solution 9's an Alligan," it's like, okay, you just added that. You've never said this for 10 years, and then now all of a sudden...
You've never said
so
that
it would be really forced if they say Alligans this time around, I think.
It would be a hard sell to say it's Alligans.
Personally.
Or rather, like, now, if they said that, like, maybe it's someone who escaped with Alligan technology, a la, like, you know, the Onishishu in the Far East... I'd be like, you know what? Yeah, I can debate that. But I will say this though, just the look of Solution 9, it's very
purple,
Tron cyberpunky. So it's like, wow, this is like even more high tech than the high tech stuff we've seen so far. Like, what the hell?
Cool.
It's very my aesthetic. I love it.
These are the extra ancients.
Oh, extra ancients, yeah.
I always
we are super ancients.
I do remind everybody that when I get a chance, I try to remind everybody the calamities reset society every time they happen. And because they brought it up before in interviews and stuff like that, I've talked about it, how when a calamity happens, like society has to go back to stage 1. And so they have to like rebuild themselves. And Eorzea's had 7, right? So if Doral had no like connection to the 3 great continents during those time frames, and Solution 9 was able to develop itself outside of calamity effects, right? We're talking about, 10,000 years of development without any interruptions like a calamity. So that's why I'm more...
But that's weird. Wouldn't that be weird, though? Because the only reason the 7th Thermal Calamity was localized to Eorzea was because of Louis Soir. As far as we know, all the 6 elemental calamities were, in fact, worldwide.
Because I'm trying to remember, I know because the flood affected the last one was before Dalamud. It was a flood, and then it was the Ice Age one where everything froze over, and I know that affected Ilsabard too because that's how that Makote made out. It's just like they've never really highlighted how far those effects have been reaching. So I would imagine if they do say something that, like, if the calamity did affect the other places, they would say something about it, but we haven't had any like mention outside of like where we've been. So I could just be thinking that it hasn't affected at all, and then they show us, oh yeah, no, the calamity touched here too, and it's like okay, but that's the thing. It's like when we're going to this place, this area is going to be completely fresh, right? We have very little information about it already, so at any point they can just kind of add stuff outside of what they don't have already mentioned, and it would be a surprise to us because we know that only 2 people have been there that live in Eorzea now, and from Eorzea, and they never found the cities of gold, even though they knew about it. So that's why I've been wondering if it had something to do with that too. It's like just really isolated area that hasn't had any contact with anyone else, and that's why it's been developed so well. Because when I was on, I had a chance to talk about it earlier in January, and my suggestion was Wakanda. If anyone's familiar with that storyline or how that works, this super high tech nation was hidden from the rest of the world for hundreds of years, and then it reveals itself, and it's like it's so far advanced than anything else that anyone's seen. And they're like, "Wait, how did you do this?" And they're like, "Well, meteorites, the vibranium that they used." So in that sort of sense, that's what I'm thinking. Like,
if that is true, and there was this super advanced, super like powerful nation that didn't lift a finger while the world
that's the
was
same.
ending.
No, that's the same debate with Wakanda, because they even bring it up in the movies. They're like, "Why didn't you help us when we needed help?" And it's like
everyone was dying and you just sat behind your walls. What's wrong with you?
That's an actual that's the debate of post cyberpunk. It's like
that is the story of Black Panther 1. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. They're like, wait, so you've been here this whole time and you haven't done anything? Well, you were going to abuse the meteorite, so we chose not to.
Yeah, that's Killmonger's whole thing. He says you don't help, out west. I'm not going to spoil it, but he's like, you don't help out west. That's kind of crazy of you guys. So I
Yep.
think Solution 9 is like, maybe they were calamity proof because they have such crazy technology, in my opinion.
Yeah, in that sense.
Yeah, and I think we'll dive into what they were. I personally think it's like ancients just because of the language that we've seen with, the proto-ancient language. But yeah, I don't think it'll be elegant. I just think I'm excited to see, what is their reason to be so high tech in the
Yeah,
middle of
that's the
the West,
mystery. So
Yeah, I just based off of what we know about how Final Fantasy XIV likes to reference older games in the franchise. Personally, I saw two similarities. One was in Final Fantasy VIII, because I forget the name of that city or country in Final Fantasy VIII, which does the same thing. It's a super advanced civilization that's hidden from the rest of the world until like it's toward the end of the game and they suddenly help you with everything. And then in Final Fantasy IX, which Solution 9 gets its name from, you finally discover the people or individuals that were going to essentially try to replace you once the world ended. So I thought, what if that's what the angle they're going for? What if Solution 9 is supposed to be the solution to, well, the final days happened, here's how we rebuild?
yeah, you can see something like it's a sanctuary point or something like that, or an arc style thing.
Something like if so, it kind of would tie back to how like the ancients were doing their thing, because like of course the Ascians were doing the rejoinings and all of that, but what if some of them like splintered off, being like, look, just in case this doesn't work, how about we do this?
I could see it. It's all sorts of. The thing is, it just hit us so randomly. We have so many theories we can make, and I find that
God, I have so many questions.
which that's probably the most exciting point about Dawntrail is that it's created these many questions to make us want to go find the answers. And so when we enter in during the summertime, we're going to be like taking notes and be like, okay, so I remember I was curious about this. What's the answer to this? And it's going to be really cool to kind of figure things out as you go.
And maybe we'll finally get an answer for the biggest question in Final Fantasy XIV.
But yeah.
Why are there still clouds over Ilsabard?
Oh my god.
Someone was saying that Solution 9 was making the clouds.
Oh my, I will blow up the entire place.
You know what? I can see it. Oh, no, the other thing that intrigued me about, I think it was information from the live letter, or just like people pointed out on the map, that huge crack.
Oh yes,
That got
I
me
noticed
really
that.
interested.
So when I was doing my LunaCon presentation for Daral, I was looking at the map and I was like, "Hold on, is that a giant,
Yeah.
divide in the ocean?" And no one said, and like they didn't even mention it during live letter at all,
It's
or
just
during.
there.
It's just there. And then when you watch the updated trailer, so that's probably the only point I would say in the updated trailer that I would like confirm there's something there. Because when they zoom out of Duliolal and they're crossing that bridge, you see the gap. Like the entire ocean is pouring into it. And you're like,
Yeah.
there's going to be a story about that. They're going to have to explain to us why there's a giant hole in the ocean.
That is so interesting.
What if that massive
Right.
gash was caused by the Fourth Orbital Calamity?
Could be. I was thinking the Eliminator, something like that robot monster they were hinting at. They were gonna have a trial for. Like it caused that, and then now we have to stop it or something. Like we have to because it's about to wake up again or something.
Yeah, honestly, the robot looked like it was trying to take inspiration from Hydaelyn and Zodiac, or like Elder Primals. So what if they were trying to make an artificial god?
That would be crazy.
Ooh.
I like that.
A different way to make a primal.
You defeat the thing, and then a Loprit pops up a la Gundam and is all like, "Ah, I didn't perceive this.
You thwarted our plan.
You thwarted my plan, you jerk."
It's so easy to make Loprit memes.
It really is. I mean, ever since they introduced Puddingway, it's always been like comic relief plus what's it called? MacGuffin, because they always have answers too, because they're just super high tech comic relief.
The
That's
magical
what it's
MacGuffin providers.
I do think it's
Yep.
kind of funny though. Like now that the world isn't ending or in any danger, the Loporits had a massive fit of depression. Like, oh,
Yeah, the tribal quests are really cool because you kind of give them something to do essentially. Like, hey, you can still do things.
you can still
And-
help the world. You don't just have to prepare for doomsday events.
Right. And they start learning about art, and they start learning about like, and I'm just like, this is funny to me because it's like we've had these things for thousands of years, and the Loporits have never tried to explore creativity, and then you're introducing that to them in the tribe quests. So that's pretty
Exactly.
cool.
And then they create a podcast. What have we done?
Oh yeah, and that became content creators.
And then they became influencers. We are the worst.
we led them down the path.
Oh god, that's gonna be the second doomsday scenario. Loporit influencers. Don't forget to like,
man.
comment, and subscribe.
To like, subscribe.
Speaking of, don't forget to like and subscribe to Mr. Sonic Scrub.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow. Wow.
Mr. Loring Way himself,
Loring
I'm
Way.
not being
Loring Way, I
I'm
love
not being
that.
held against my will.
Oh my god.
I'm not being threatened to say these things. This is not happening. I would never.
Never.
Speaking of not being threatened, Scribe, when can I go home?
Well, let's see. We've been at this for a little more than an hour now. Are there any other points that anyone wanted to tackle? Because I feel like we've covered quite a few bases. We've covered Endwalker, the State of 14, the trailers, Dawntrail itself. Anything else?
I think there's one more thing I wanted to bring up.
Let's hear it.
I'm actually going to point this out as like as someone who really gets deep into the lore and does a lot of like reading on the stuff. The Alliance raid is going to be the one place I will have zero reference or information for because it's going to be entirely based on Final Fantasy XI.
I'm so excited
And
for that.
I know a lot of people are, and I'm kind of like living in their hype. I'm kind of like living through them because once again I never got to play 11, and so seeing how people are reacting to it gives me good vibes. I'm like, okay, this seems interesting. We'll see how that goes. But if anyone has any questions about the Alliance raid when it drops, I will not be able to answer you. So I will be basing anything they give us off of that. I have no reference from the game itself, so I leave that to my Final Fantasy XI veterans to answer questions.
It's been so long since I played 11. I'd have to give myself a primer just to remember all the details.
Figure out what the references are. Yeah,
Exactly. So I still remember the Shadow Lord and all of that.
yeah, because they've shown Shadow Lord and then they've shown the key art, but that's about it.
Yeah.
So
But
it's gonna be interesting to see how that plays out.
Hopefully, it's as good as the Rabanastre references were with.
Oh yeah.
Tactics and stuff, because holy crap, that was an amazing raid series.
Yes, I love that one.
Yeah. I think it's hilarious that Ivalice exists in 14 as an actual concept. It's like, oh, we're not making a reference. It's actually here.
Actually, that's probably the best thing to finish up on. In the poster for Dawntrail, I think she's toward the top. Some people have been suggesting that by her design, she looks like Ashelia Banargan Dalmasca.
I
some
can
words.
see that, but at the same time, who's the queen here? I could probably just open up the thing. Doesn't she exist, or what previous ruler did Fran inside 14 follow?
It was Ashelia.
Ash. It was Ash. Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah, Ash.
That's what I thought.
She was recently woken up. We don't know exactly when, but we know that Ash has been woken up and she's being informed of everything that's been happened while she was in quote unquote Viera stasis.
Yeah, because
Got
they lied. Everyone thought she died, and then we found out. The crazy part is we didn't find out till Zadnor because they waited till the very end of that content cycle to tell us that Fran had lied to everybody, put her under stasis, and then she's been
That's what it
asleep
was.
this whole time. And I'm just like, for 30 years, what? But so now she's getting slowly waking back up and then and they just regained their independence. I think they hinted at Dalmasca winning independence around the same time as Bosnia. So it's like, are they going to be tying those plot lines together? I don't know it would be interesting to see, but I don't know how they would do it. Since we're all going to Toral, it's like, how would they, unless they're doing the whole meanwhile in Bosnia, or something
What
like that.
That'd be
if
cool.
what if Turiolo was the place that Fran decided to keep her in stasis?
If they
That
had
would be
that
crazy.
I mean, there is a Vieira group that lives in Toral. We've learned from Aaronville being adopted by the Autarch. So
That honestly,
if
that
that's
would be a deep lore cut that I could appreciate. Honestly,
Okay.
the two Vieira tribes have some sort of like interaction with each other,
yeah,
that'd be
pretty
really
much. Yeah,
I'd be
Yeah.
excited. I mean, because we know for instance, female Hrothgars. A lot of them escaped over out west, right? And so I think we can get some more, just other races, Vieira, Bosnia, like any sort of just escape. We could find some people over here. They're like, yeah, I escaped over here, 50 years ago because of X thing. But also we can get people to say, yeah, we escaped over here 1,000 years ago because of X thing. So I think we can get a lot of different sort of people over here out west that are descendants or are just just immigrants over here. So I could see that.
what about you, Crystal Wrath? Did either of you play Final Fantasy 12 at some point?
Yeah, I've played all of them.
Oh, excellent! So you
Nice.
know exactly what we're talking about then.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, I know that.
Yeah.
My exposure to Final Fantasy has been about 20 minutes of Final Fantasy VII when I was like 6. I played 8 hours of fishing in Final Fantasy 15, and I play 14. So I'm not. I have no idea
You have no
what
idea.
you're talking about.
But-
You said a lot of very fancy words earlier, and I think that
see.
they sound cool.
The TLDR is so. Did you get to do Bosnia or have you run?
Yeah, I love Bosch.
So you in the area we went to for the Alliance raid in Stormblood in the Evilise content,
Mhm.
they didn't get taken over. They got taken over by the Garleans 30 years ago, right? And what we understood was that the reigning leaders, so the king was killed, and then the heirs were also killed, and that's what we were told during the Alliance raid. But we found out in the Save the Queen content that Fran had actually put the princess into a sleep. You don't find this out until you get her. You have to get her. What's it called? The notes, because they drop like field notes in the Bosnia content that explain
Yeah.
backstory. And Fran's field note, it explains that she put the princess into a slumber. And so for 30 years, the princess has been in stasis and she just woke up.
What?
And then that's what they leave it off on that. They don't tell us anything more. They're just like, oh yeah,
Exactly.
Princess Ashelia is still alive. But no one knows this.
So who knows? That girl could be Ashelia, or it could be some entirely new character that has nothing to do with Evil. I know a whole lot of Evilise fans and Toel fans would love for that connection to be there, but who knows? It
Right.
might have absolutely nothing to do with it at all.
That's really interesting. I didn't even know about that because I didn't complete Bosnia, so I didn't know about like they added a little bit of Fran backstory in there. That's really
That sounds.
intriguing.
I love Save the Queen, but I have beef with the fact that they put those really important plot points
Yes.
in field notes, because it's like it's so easy to miss.
Mhm.
And
Isn't that like majority of Final Fantasy 14 lore in a nutshell?
to be,
That
yeah,
is why it
yes,
exists,
it
yeah.
is. Yeah, it is fair. It is easy.
A lot of
but it's just,
this lore is so easy to confuse or like mistake. You got people thinking that the jobs are using Dynamis now all of a sudden. Are you kidding me?
Mhm.
Ugh.
Are they not?
Oh, don't
no.
you start rap.
no.
That's a whole separate video right there.
That's a whole separate video where the lore like channels come together to educate people on how Dynamis is nothing.
That's so funny.
Okay. But have you considered that Dynamis does stick within the well-established archetype of the power of God and anime?
We had the power of God in anime. It was called Ether.
Yeah, but now it's called Dynamis.
But now it's
Now it's called Dynamis. Oh my god.
I just think you're not giving it enough of a shade.
I
do
gave
wanna
it
point out-
plenty of a chance, and then the entire concept was dropped in 6.x.
Yeah, I want to point out though that so I thought it was really awkward that they gave it a specific percentage, right? Because they do this in lore book and they do the MSQ. Hermes brings it up. It's like what 65.8%. It was such a specific number of how much Dynamis exists in the universe, and I was like, but you know what? Do you know why though? I found out why they did the specific number.
Go on. I was going to say, you're probably going to mention what I was going to mention.
Yeah, the number comes from research about dark energy.
That's what everyone's saying.
It's a specific NASA statistic of how much dark energy is in the universe. So according to that, Dynamis is supposed to be dark energy, which is something we cannot perceive here at all. So
something we cannot perceive or interact with or manipulate.
Exactly.
It just is.
Exactly. That's the way it's supposed to be. Dynamis is not supposed to be interacted with. You can't do it. We can't interact with dark energy on Earth. We can't interact with Dynamis on the Theris. It's never been something that could just be, oh, hey, look, there's Dynamis in my hand. That you can't do it.
No,
like that's why they use that number.
Well, we need to stop before we go into a Dynamis rant.
I'll just say, as a space nerd, the second they mentioned, 2/3 of the known universe is Dynamis, I was like, wait, that's dark matter. But all it is really is just something that makes scientists' calculations work. It's not something that we can actually even touch. It's just, if we put dark matter here, this calculation works out. So yeah, it's incredibly unexplored, and it's such a theory. Yeah. It's quantum physics, and it's theoretical physics type of thing. So yeah, it's not anything tangible that any real person's ever going to touch. So I think they'll just leave Dynamis and Endwalker, in my perfect opinion.
And I'm perfectly okay with that. You know?
Yeah, exactly. So we'll just leave it at that. I hope that if they do put it anywhere, it's going to be like we said, just their MacGuffin.
Just a mild reference now and then.
Exactly.
It's like,
don't forget about this.
It might have been Dynamis. Who knows? But is there anything else that anyone would want to bring up before we close this out?
I think that was everything. I'm scanning the site. I think we covered everything.
I believe that covers everything.
Did this meeting of the Labyrinths come to a end?
See, if I wasn't sick, I would try to match that voice tone, but it's gonna hurt. So I'm like,
no, you have to do your labyrinth.
Everybody.
You have to do your
It has
labyrinth.
been an absolute pleasure being here. I am finally free.
You can finally run off into the sunset.
incredible.
If anyone needs any Loperitz voiceover at any point in time, just hit me up.
Sounds good. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, you heard it here first, everyone. Crystal is offering VA work for Loperit characters.
VA Loperit characters.
VA Loperit.
Yeah.
Yoshi P, you're missing out. Like, we can make, I don't know. What kind of Loperit would Crystal be?
Oh, I don't know.
Let's see.
My name is Tryharding Way.
Tryharding Way.
Amazing.
My name is Get Good Way.
Good way.
All right. Well,
Be something stupid.
all right. Thank you all, everyone, for listening in today, and thank everyone for joining me on this. It always feels nice knowing that I can reach out and grab some really talented and awesome people to sit down and have these discussions with now and then. So thank you all for taking the time out of your busy lives to sit down and have some fun and pick each other's brains a little bit. Crystal, I know everyone is looking forward to EtherCon. Whenever you
Very excited.
Whenever you choose to do it.
Thank you guys.
So everyone,
No, it means a lot.
anyone listening, make sure to. I will leave links in the description. Please, if you haven't already, visit their channels. Make sure to follow them or sub them or whatever you want if you like their content, because I feel like the Final Fantasy XIV community and other content creators don't get enough love. There needs to be more love in the Final Fantasy XIV community. So
Yeah.
Very true.
So share the love. If you follow them, if you really like their content. I think out of all of us here, Crystal is actually the biggest content creator. So
Yeah.
congratulations.
Numbers are but a number.
Numbers are but a number.
Those are my famous words.
But thank you all so much for joining us today. I hope everyone had fun with our topics today. As always, be respectful to everyone and their opinions in the comment section below. And with that, I hope you all have an amazing week. And as always, stay safe, my friends.
Please like and
Bye.
subscribe.
Like and subscribe if you know what's good for you.
Like and subscribe or else.
Carrots are the only thing we'll be munching if you don't subscribe.
Oh my god.
That should be your new thing, Scribe. You should just threaten people.
Just start threatening. You better subscribe, or I swear to God.
Just hit it. Do it.
Yeah,
I
that's what,
posted a
that's
new
what Cider
video.
Spider does.
Watch it or else.
Oh my God.